Hello, my name is Pauline and I'm President of the International Cooperative Alliance. I'm really sorry that I can't be with you in the Philippines to speak to you in person at this very important meeting, but I'm delighted to have the chance to talk to you through this video link. And you know, I have some really fond and warm memories of my meeting in the Philippines in 2012, the International Year of Cooperatives, when I was there for the Asian Confederation of Credit Unions. And I have really strong memories of one of the credit unions I visited and seeing the real difference it was making to the local community. And I've taken that story about the way in which they were supporting the community all around the world with me and told it in many different countries to many different people to warm acclaim. So I'm delighted to be talking to you again today and to be able to talk a little bit about your conference and your title towards 2020, Raising the Bar, because it fits so perfectly with the work that the international movement is doing through the blueprint for a cooperative decade. And you know that that blueprint has come out of the international year. And the importance of it is that what it did is it is building on the momentum of the international year to try and kickstart the cooperative movement into a new era of growth. Because one thing we learnt from the international year was that the movement is now much more cohesive. The movement now feels the strength of the billion cooperators around the world when they're doing their own work in their own cooperative. And we know that we've got to reach into every village, every town, every city across the world. So now the blueprint is being developed to produce tools that can be used at grassroots level to help us grow the cooperative family of businesses. Because the aim of the blueprint is firstly that the cooperative movement should be recognised as the most sustainable business model in terms of the environment, socially and in terms of the economy. Secondly, that it will become the preferred option for business by ordinary people. And as a result of both of those, it will become the fastest growing model of business by 2020. It's our 2020 challenge to implement the blueprint and ensure that our businesses are growing faster than any other form of business in the world. It's an ambitious agenda, but I believe we can, by working together, we can achieve it. So what is the blueprint all about? Well, it's designed around 5 key themes, and none of them will be new to you. Because what we did was we took 4 key people from around the world, one from each continent. And these were people who were in positions of influence close to the hierarchy of 4 very large major cooperative businesses that were firstly commercially successful, but secondly had a wide reputation for promoting the cooperative model of business. So the 2 sides of our cooperative coin. And we used those 4 people to tell us what they felt their business wanted to be like in 20 to 30 years. And then we worked back from that to see what the International Cooperative Alliance had to do to help that growth, because we were sure if the strategy was right for the very largest of our businesses, then it would certainly be right for the smaller ones as we go down to grassroots level. So the 5 key themes are ones you will recognise. They're all clearly identified with the principles of the cooperative movement. The first 2 are what we call the identifiers, the things that demonstrate the cooperative difference. So for instance, participation is the first theme. And participation is so important to us because it's the one thing that people around the world recognise about the cooperative difference. They recognise that we are the most democratic, participatory form of business in the world. We want to bring people, ordinary people, into making decisions about how their business at local level is working. And what we're trying to do now is to build even more our reputation for democratic participation. You will know that after the financial crisis, and one of the key elements is people feel dislocated from global business. And we believe cooperatives are the key to that, because we are bringing people into a business that gives them a voice in that business, it gives them an impact on that business, it allows them to participate fully. And we believe that makes them feel better about their local environment, it makes them feel more secure in their local environment, and it adds to their well-being and their happiness. So we want to develop even further participation. The second key identifier for us is sustainability. And you know, when people think about sustainability, they don't think about cooperatives front of mind. And we have to put ourselves there because our businesses are more sustainable. But the key thing about us is when we talk about sustainability, we're not just talking about trying to save the planet, which is how sustainability has come to be known across the world. If you're sustainable, if you're supporting the planet, of course we're trying to protect the planet. It's vitally important to us that we work in harmony with nature and we don't destroy resources. But actually, sustainability has a wider meaning to cooperators. It's about good relationships between managers and workers. It's about good community engagement. It's developing good quality businesses for ordinary people in the community. It's about defeating poverty. It's about a whole range of issues that relate to how people feel about themselves and their confidence in their own community and their well-being in their own community, the well-being of the planet, the well-being of their business, making sure that we work well with our suppliers, we don't cheat them, we're fair to them, making sure that we give reasonable prices to the people in the community. So you can see we're talking about a much wider definition of sustainability. And we believe that that's critical to cooperatives being recognised as having some of the solutions to some of the key problems of today. There's another two of these key themes, both legal requirements and capital, which are what we call the tools that we need to build our business. The first two are our identifiers. They make us different from other businesses. Capital and legal requirements are vital for us to have good, healthy businesses. And legal requirements, the United Nations asked everybody in 2012, every country, to look at their legislation, to make sure that it's up to date, that it empowers people to engage in cooperatives, that it empowers cooperative business in any sector of the economy where you can make a good business case for a cooperative business. So we are seeing the fruits of that coming through as many countries are changing their legislation. So legal requirements are obviously vital, and a lot of the public policy that we've been creating and working to are about removing discrimination. It shouldn't be the case that any legal framework in any country prevents people from developing a cooperative business if you can make a firm, good business case for one. On cooperative capital, this is a very sensitive area. We know that one of the biggest problems for many cooperatives is finding development capital. And so for us it's vital that we look and see how cooperatives around the world are finding capital. What is being used at the moment successfully so that we can share that information around the world for other cooperatives. So it's for start-up capital for new cooperatives so we can build yet more cooperative businesses working in communities, helping children to achieve their potential, creating better, stronger communities. But it's also about creating development capital for new, not just for new, but for developing mature cooperatives who want to diversify and extend their business. And that's been what we call the missing middle in cooperative capital. We need to fill that. So we've put together what we call the Blue Ribbon Commission on Capital, which is a group of significant financial cooperative specialists around the world. And we've asked them to look carefully at this. We know that capital is... We have to be very cautious because it's very easy to damage a cooperative and damage a member's rights of ownership in a cooperative if you're not careful about where you find capital from and what sort of capital comes into your businesses. So we see this as a longer strand of thinking so that we can make sure that our cooperative businesses remain clearly cooperative in their essence and their governance. But we think it's vital to do this work for the future. The fifth theme of the blueprint is identity. And on this I want to talk to you about how we have gone about trying to retain the cohesion that the movement developed during 2012, when we all used the international logo that was designed for us by the United Nations. Well, now the United Nations have retired the logo. So what we did was we've developed, with the help of cooperatives all around the world, we have developed a new logo, a new mark, in fact. And this cooperative mark, which you can see on the new logo and branding of the International Cooperative Alliance, the co-op mark, is designed to be used by members all across the world. It's not designed to replace your own branding. It's designed to add to it. It's designed to sit alongside it and demonstrate that this is an organisation, this is a business that is part of the global cooperative family of businesses, that is part of the trusted, ethical, principled cooperative business of model. And we believe that this will actually add to your branding and not detract in any way. And you can put some words next to it, part of the global cooperative family. Cooperative enterprises building a better world, the one that was so popular during the United Nations year. And we have launched the new mark, as we called it, in the General Assembly in Cape Town in November last year. And I can tell you with enormous pride that so far 75 countries, cooperatives in 75 countries, have applied for a licence and been given a licence to use the mark in those countries. So we're looking for you all now, at all grassroots levels, at every form of cooperative, to use the mark in every way that you can to demonstrate your identity as a cooperative and part of the global family. And whilst you're doing that, why don't you buy a .coop domain name? Because this year, the global level governance structure for top-level domain names has released hundreds more top-level domain names to add to .com, .org, .biz, .coop. So hundreds more of these will appear. How important is it, therefore, that you identify yourself on the internet by being a .coop? And we've put both the mark and the .coop together, and you can apply for and get them both. The .coop is free for the first year, and the mark is free. All you have to do is apply, fill in the licence, so the ICA know who is using the mark, but it's free to use for ICA members or people who are members of ICA members. So I hope you very much that you will consider joining the increasing number of co-ops around the world who are using this identifier to show, firstly, that they are a cooperative business, and secondly, using the identity on the internet. All of this in the blueprint is about growing cooperative business. All of it is about demonstrating our increasing cohesion across the world, our increasing sense of the billion people who own the cooperative movement and who have a right to be heard in the global economy. And I just want to end by saying to you that in the last few months we have had some amazing achievements as a result of the work that's gone on through the blueprint. Firstly, as many of you know, I had the great honour to be received by Pope Francis in the Vatican to talk about the cooperative model of business and how it's such an important part of the global economy. There are some articles now calling Pope Francis the co-op Pope, which I think you will enjoy seeing that he is deeply engaged with us. I was back in the Vatican this July for a meeting together with other leaders around the world, from the World Bank, from the OECD, from the United Nations, from all its bodies, business people and NGOs, to talk about how, as Pope Francis has said, we put the human being back in the global economy. And he and the Vatican believe that the cooperative movement has a key role to play in doing that. And they're now sending the statement that came out of that to the leaders of the G20, the 20 largest nations, largest economies in the world, and asking them to think about the human being and putting the human being back into the global economy. And also, this last few months, the cooperative movement has smashed through the glass ceiling of the B20, the business advisory group that advises the G20. And what we've done now is been able to have an Australian business person on the B20 helping to formulate the recommendations for the G20. And together, 10 of us from around the world went to the B20 conference and were able to take part in all the sessions. You will be pleased to know that many of the big businesses, the global businesses represented there, were actually surprised at the strength of the cooperative movement and wanted to know more about how they could work with the cooperative movement in developing jobs. They were staggered to hear that our insurance sector has grown from 23% of the global market to 28%, and in doing so over the last 5 years have created 120,000 more jobs in the world, jobs much needed around the world. And our worker co-op sector, in Spain, where 50% of the young people are unemployed, Spain's worker co-ops have created in the first 3 months of 2014 10,000 new jobs in worker co-ops, mainly for young people. These are wonderful results. And when you talk to business people about them in the multinational businesses, they too are wanting to know how they can work with us. So we're beginning to make very significant waves, and we hope to continue that work under the Turkish presidency of the G20 in 2015. We're working for you, working so that you, when you're out there with your business, will have a sense that global leaders are actually talking about the cooperative movement, that recommendations about the direction of the economy, the global economy, will include references to the value of the cooperative model of business. And I hope you'll feel that in the coming months and years, that we are doing work that is impacting on your ability to grow your business and to help people in your communities across the Philippines. So I hope that's given you a feel for the blueprint and what we're trying to do. I know how hard you're working. I've seen what you do. Even this last few weeks, I was in Indonesia for the meetings of the Asia-Pacific region. And whilst I was there, the Asian Confederation of Credit Unions were meeting in Bali, and I had met with them in the Philippines 2 years ago. And I got a great sense of the vigour and energy that was active in ACU. And prime amongst those were the wonderful ladies from the Philippines. And I just want to say to you, keep working. We're right there working for and with you. And I hope very much to meet you soon.